Okay, so we're gonna have three different scenarios. Below the video, you have each of the scenario. Go in and read all three scenarios. Write down what your responses would be, what you would do differently, what you think about each of the scenario, and let's go over. I will also read each of the scenario so you can read it with me as part of the video also, and then just pause for each section. Okay, so let's go into scenario one: argument in the team. So you have a good team, your supervisor is good, your teammates are good, mostly. But there is this one colleague who gets on your nerve all the time. When you speak, he interrupts. When you're speaking, he doesn't seem to be listening. He's not paying attention. He also seems to avoid having to talk to you. You make good efforts several times to get to know this teammate, but he doesn't seem to like you. He doesn't respond. He avoids situations. He avoids you. On the last meeting, he interrupted you when you were making a presentation and made a few remarks where you were embarrassed. And you're rolling your eyes and thinking, what the heck? What's wrong with this guy? What did I do? Why is he like coming after me? So you decided to just ignore this person, but deep inside you're feeling a lot of anger and resentment toward this person. You're holding up until one day finally this person triggered your built up emotion and you explode. What what happened here? What is good? What is healthy? What are things that could have gone better, right? And when it comes to this, I think we're all learning how to be more emotionally intelligent. These communication skills, it builds up soft skills, builds up your emotional intelligence, which is very important. But what happens here? Is this normal? Well, I think this is normal. I mean, I've gone through it and I think I'm normal. There are some people where it feels like they're just on a different frequency as you, and that's completely okay. I've learned over the years that a lot of times it's not about you. They have other things going on. Life is a lot more than just you. They have other priorities, and maybe they have other things. Is it your responsibility to know everything about that person? If that's a colleague, you don't. You don't need to know. That's not your responsibility. Your supervisor may want to get to know that person if your supervisor is managing that person, but it's not part of your responsibility to really get to know that person. You can be courteous, you can be professional, but you don't have to over react and really try to be their friends. You don't have to be friends with everyone. You don't. That's fine. You can still maintain a very professional, atmosphere. Now, what is wrong to do if situations like this happen is to suppress your emotion. Very, very, very unhealthy. Some people try to ignore the emotions, like, oh, I felt resentment, I felt anger when that happened. That emotion is genuine. You really felt those emotions when those events happen, which means it's okay to feel those. You can acknowledge, oh, I'm having these emotions, and you can let it go. Simply accept that these are the emotions you're feeling, but it doesn't mean that you have to react. It doesn't mean that you have to make judgment on that person, right? Give the benefit of doubt, be courteous, treat others just like how you would like yourself to be treated professionally, right? Without going overboard. Um, and respect your emotions. Don't try to suppress it. Um, and if you're courteous, teams change, you will have new teammates, and things will be fine, but you will always have few people that you just don't get, don't really jive. And that's okay. At work, that's perfectly fine. If you have a few coworkers at your company that you feel connected to, you should consider yourself very lucky. You don't have to feel connected with every single person in your team or company. That will probably never happen unless your company just one or two people, right? So it's okay. We all have different talents, strengths, different backgrounds. We can still respect people with different frequency, different, desires, different strengths. Still respect them, but not be friends with them. That's okay. We can still be professional. All right, let's talk about scenario two. A team member with below average performance. So you took over a new team, so you're a supervisor, and one of the employees really struggle. You take time to be with them one-on-one to find out what happened and why the employee is not able to perform. You had several meetings like that, but the person doesn't seem to improve. You say, hey, is there anything going on at home? And as far as you can tell, there's nothing special going on. What should you do? Do you fire the person? Do you wait a few more weeks? Do you start judging them and saying that person is a bad employee or a bad person? Okay, pause the video, think about the answers to that. Especially, are they a bad employee? Or are they a bad person? Okay, with this one, do you fire the person? I mean, every situation is different, right? So you got to really be attentive to the company cultural values, the situation. If it was me, as a general rule of thumb, I don't like to fire people. Um, just giving them a few weeks to improve. I think sometimes people need more time. So I try to give people 2 to 3 months to improve. And if I don't see improvements specifically by that timeline, then I have a talk with them before. And usually I set these objectives with them beforehand and I say, okay, why don't we set some goals? Okay, so then in 2 to 3 months, let's come up with quantifiable, measurable goals that we can definitely look back and say, we hit A, B, and C. And I let them know, I believe you can do it because I've seen what you can do, or I believe in, everyone in their ability to change. And if you are not able to meet these, then I need someone new who can do these. So you don't make it personal. You let them know, and you let them know, I believe you can do it. 2 to 3 months have gone by. If they're not able to do it, it's an easy conversation. You say, hey, I thought you could do it. Maybe this is not the best environment or the right environment for you to thrive. As we talked about, I need someone new in my team who can do this. Let's see if we can get you moved over to another department where you would be happy and where you can contribute. But in my team, you're not meeting the expectation that I need. What is wrong to do in this situation is to make a judgment and say that person is lazy, or that person is bad, or the person is blah, blah, blah. Anytime you make a statement on that person's character, again, you're not in a position. You don't know what the person is going through, right? So if you don't know what's going on with the person, how could you make a judgment on that person's character? Now, does that mean we don't make any judgments at all? No. We still need to make judgments at work on performance, right? But performance are not judgment on character. Performance is just flat, black and white, right? Did you perform or did you not perform, right? So we could very effectively make a judgment on performance, and we should, but making a judgment on character, we should be careful. This not only makes you a better, well-rounded person, where you can be a better leader, and a person with more compassion and a person with higher emotional intelligence, it also makes the team stronger, because you know that if you're especially a leader, the team knows that you're embracing people with all walks of life. You're respectful of other people's opinions, and you're not quick to judge on someone else's character. Okay, that's a good thing to remember. Okay, scenario 3, a difficult person. Your team is quite good. You enjoy working on your team. Most of the teammates have similar personalities as you. That could be good and bad. Your team is open, friendly, courteous. A new member joins the team and your personality just don't match. In fact, it seems to really collide. This person actually reminds you of someone in your past that bullied you. A lot of our emotions are triggered by our past events. Perfectly fine. That happens. The way this person smiles, talks, etc., just rubs against your skin. You just don't want to remember there's someone in your past, and this person reminds you. You know this person didn't do anything wrong to you, and try not to judge this person, but you just can't help it. No matter how much effort you have tried in the past, you just can't seem to get along with this person. What should you do? Should you try to overcome your past and become a friend to this person? So I think if you're in this situation for real, it becomes tricky. It becomes tricky. Do you leave the team because you're like, I just can't deal with this? In a way, I think that's kind of escaping. Again, I feel like in this situation, and again, it's easier said than done. But what I think is important, based on my experience professionally, is you don't have to be a friend of everyone in your team. You don't. There's no responsibility or job description that says you have to like everyone in your team. You don't have to like everyone in your team, but you still need to be respectful. It doesn't mean you have to interact with the person. Avoid settings where you have to interact that person, especially if it triggers some past emotions that that's difficult for you to process at the current time, is perfectly fine. You can let the supervisor know and say, hey, look, I'm struggling. I had this thing happen in the past, and I know it's unfair to this person, but I'm just not ready to handle these emotions, or it's hard for me, so I would like your help. Is it okay if I, skip, some of these meetings or these, because I'm just not ready for it, right? If you make the, not based on that person's character, just based on you and how you're feeling, you're being true to your emotions, your colleagues will understand. Your team wouldn't, understand. And you're not making a judgment on that person. Okay, you can still be effective at what you do. You don't have to go do all the social events and just force yourself to like this person. I think, that's okay. And again, some of these could be common sense. If you had, parents or friends or teachers that taught you some of these, it may seem like, of course, Michael, this seems so obvious. But again, a lot of things in life that seem obvious once you master or once you learn, for some of us, it's not so obvious, and we need to be exposed to these scenarios and listen to some of these different perspectives to gain appreciation for how to approach situations like this. So if you already have built these core competencies and high emotional intelligence, you're lucky. Consider yourself lucky and fortunate. For myself, I feel that no one really taught me this. It took me years. I wish someone taught me some of their perspectives, because I think I could have saved a lot of, headache and heartache, and some of the, misjudgments I made about people or about situations. And I feel like a lot of times I was also too hard on myself, and I was judgmental on not only others, I was also judgmental on myself too harshly, unnecessarily. And learning how to have self-compassion, I think, was an important thing that I had to learn across my journey. And how, just like we don't cross the net and make a judgment on another person, sometimes we cross the net too much on ourselves, and we say, I am stupid, or I am not competent, I am lazy, or I'm not hardworking, I'm not smart enough. Whenever you make a statement about that, about you as a person, we're making a judgment on ourselves. And just like the core value is, do not judge others' characters, how often do we make a judgment on our own character? And have all these negative emotions come out because we just don't like who we are right now. So anyway, easier said than done, but I think for me, going through that Stanford class and thinking about that topic made me realize that, you know what, yes, I need to stop judging another person's character. I should honor the emotions that I get from these communications, and I should be true to that emotions and not try to suppress it or hide it. I can just accept it, that yes, I'm feeling these emotions, and that's okay. But also realizing that I need to be kind to myself too. I need to be compassionate to myself. And yes, I'll work hard. Yes, I'll do everything I can, but I'm a human being with emotions and with other priorities, and how I shouldn't label myself all these negative keywords because I'm imperfect. Um, yeah, that took me a long time. So anyway, I hope some of these core values not only help with your communication skills, but again, being versus portraying. We just can't learn how to portray. We also got to change our being, who we are as a person. And naturally, as we change who we are as a person, how we are reflected, right? The words that come out of our mouth, the body language that comes out of our mouth, because we are fundamentally a different person and we are changing for the better, our communications will also naturally just improve and better, because it's just a reflection of who we are as a person. And sometimes we have to work on better reflecting, right? Because sometimes we're not reflecting who we are effectively. But anyway, we need to work on both. Okay.